The Pre brothers playing with those boys today?
Oh yes, of course they were clanging and banging, the two Aryan twin juggernauts of like momentum winning.
And
Yeah,
then
they were
what
class.
was the other one? Is it that John O'Ross? Is he still there?
Yeah, he was going good. Yeah, and then Spicy Curry, the Madras at 7, and then we had and then Lud Diaga, mate. That guy is so much bigger in real life than on TV, by the way. And he's so gifted in locomotion. Like you would never think he's like 6'9" and just large and in charge. He just moves so well. But yeah, great game.
Yeah, he has quite a kind face, though. I find when you see him on telly, he doesn't look like a sort of really hard guy.
Yeah, there's like almost an element of like neon to his face, like baby face. But yeah, mate, what a savage that bloke is. Man, the depth they've got in South Africa for freak show locks that can move like animals and are just ginormous just makes no sense to me. What happens?
Making huge men, isn't it?
Yeah, the academies are just concocting blokes in labs. It's like, oh mate. Then you got Etzebeth and who's that guy? A Munster. Have you seen him as well?
Oh yeah, looks like Hagrid.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's the scariest of all. Like some big Scandi Afrikaner, mate.
Yeah,
freak show. Yeah. But yeah, it was a great game. Great game. The Monstars, from Space Jam, essentially.
Right, let's move on now and sort of run through a bit of your previous years, if you will, Francois. Let's head back to the earlier part of your career when you were playing for the Bulls as a young man in 2008. What was it like coming into a changing room full of the likes of sort of Bakkies Botha, Brian Habana, Victor Matfield, etc.?
Oh man, that was incredible. You know, I was, as a youngster, just literally happy to be there. I think like any youngster would be, but I think that was most probably one of the most gifted or teams with the best guys in their positions, best players in their positions. I don't think at a certain stage we didn't even need a coach for that matter, because Victor was there, Bakkies was there, Fourie was there, obviously Brian was there, and they're all natural leaders anyway. So the crazy thing about it is, I've, as a young kid or as a youngster, I've always, you idolize people and you big fan of all these people. And then obviously, starting to play with them was something you can't really describe to someone. It's almost like skydiving. You have to do it yourself to be able to know what it's really like. It is like a dream come true, and you become mates with these people, and the two are so far from one another. So that was definitely one of that 8 years was probably definitely the very, very special time in my career.
Let's run through one of the highlights. 2009 Currie Cup final. You're the youngest player on the pitch. I think you're 21 at the time. You score a try against the Free State Cheetahs. What are your memories of that day and the celebrations afterwards?
Oh, it was crazy. I think back in the day, it's obviously not like that anymore. And Loftus is obviously a great stadium to go play at. And people used to, before semi-finals, even big games leading up, people used to camp outside the stadium to buy tickets and stuff. And it's another thing, like it gives you goosebumps if you think about it, because like years and years after that, it all changed. The stadiums became empty and stuff. But that game was also really special. Like, a lot of games that I was involved with the Bulls, it was unbelievable, especially playing with those type of players. And I think the try that I scored was Fourie that took a quick tap or something, and he had a chip or something, and I caught it. But yeah, definitely a unbelievable game.
Later that year, you made your debut for the Springboks on tour to Europe. You made your international debut against Italy.
Yes.
Firstly, how special of a day was that for you?
Oh, it's incredible. The funny thing about it is you always, if you go on tour, let's say for the Springboks or England or so, and you go on tour but you never play, there's a funny feeling about it that you don't really feel part in a certain sense. But after you played your first game and you do the initiation and all of that stuff, it's a completely different feeling. You almost feel like you're part of a family. after, you know, your first cap and stuff. But funny story, I think Fourie kind of gave me my first cap. I think I don't know if he faked an injury or something. I played something like 5 or 6 minutes or something, but I think he really wanted me to play my first game or just get a cap, you know, because obviously I was on the bench. So, you know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have my first cap, you know, against Italy.
What, you reckon he faked an injury for you?
I think so, yeah.
What a legend.
A hero.
Oh, I mean, it was
boy.
only 5. I don't think it was like a very, very close, like, you know, tight game. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able. But I think it was only 5 or 6 minutes. But still, he's such a legend for doing that.
Yeah, too right. I've never
When
actually
you're-
thought of that. To be fair, that's a good idea.
You could be faking injuries every game for the academy kids, Ryan.
Well, no, not for the academy kids, but international level. I mean, that's what I said. Do you know what? When I was on the bench for my 50th, I said to Finn, I said, if it gets to 75 minutes, just run off the pitch and I'll just sub myself on, because I thought he might not put me on.
Yeah, I think the special thing is for someone like him, it's something small, but you know, for you as a player coming on, it's obviously means the world to you, because that's kind of something that will stay with you for the rest of your life, you know?
Yeah, what a legend.
So,
Love that.
Francois, what school did you go to in South Africa?
Polaris.
Polaris.
Stellenbosch.
At Polaris, what was the first team initiation there? There's always a mad initiation at schoolboy rugby in South Africa.
Jesus. So I don't know. We had to, like, you had to get with a school shoe, the back of a school shoe, you had to take, like, from everyone in the first team squad, like you had to be on your, you know, bent over a chair, and then these guys tried to murder you. It's one of the most painful things I've ever experienced, because a school shoe is like a car tire, and you know, as a youngster, you obviously try and take the piss anyway. So yeah, that you I don't know even how many it was, like the whole squad, maybe like, I don't know, 25 or 30 shots, and then you have to kind of read a thing and all of that stuff. And obviously back then it wasn't, you couldn't, well, you did drink, but can't say neck a beer and all of these things. But yeah, that was the thing that I can kind of remember from that.
People outside the rugby world would be like, "You did what?"
yeah.
Only if
That's why I don't want to say too much. Yeah.
Are the Polaris games televised, or only just between the rivalries?
Yeah, I think the big one against Grey College in Bloemfontein is always televised, but that's massive. Like it's I don't know how many thousands of people are always at these games, but that's also, like, you know, obviously a big tradition. We do this thing after a game which is called a Yola Bola, which is like circles. You know, it's the first team, and then kind of the age group goes further and further, and each circle goes a different way. And they've always had a, you know, kind of a camera to take a film from above, and it's spectacular. I think it's something we always used to do after, you know, you beat your rival and stuff like that. So.
I know you obviously a very keen sportsman, businessman, but is it true that having shot a 7 over par on St Andrews golf course, you're now seriously pursuing a career and sponsorship to become a pro golfer?
No. I used to.
We'll make it happen.
Good intel, great intel. No, absolutely not.
No, to be fair, I used to play a lot. You know, when I was in South Africa and stuff, and I got, you know, rotator cuff tear and had to get it up, and I kind of lost interest in it for about 3 years, because the weather is, you know, it's not fun to play when it's cold and rainy and stuff like that. And one day, like a few months ago, the guys, because I've got all the clubs and all those things because of, you know, previously playing, and I just went with one of the guys and started playing again. And you know, when the bug bites you, it's game over. It's for preseason, it's 4 or 5 times a week. But definitely not, I'm a 7, but yeah, it's very inconsistent, to be fair.
Oh, mate, I'd love my body to be in a good enough nick to play golf in the week. There's no way I could hold on to a golf club in the middle of the week after playing.
That's what I always say, because I play with one of my friends who used to be pro. and he plays off a +6, which is, I mean, he plays every second day or whatever he plays at Wentworth, and he doesn't really understand. Like in season for me, it's really tough to play because if it's not your shoulder, it's your leg, or you have a dead leg, and it's hard because it's almost like you're making excuses, but it's really tough. Like it feels like you've been hit by a car after a game. You take 3 days to recover and get back into it, and then you have one off day. You don't really feel like, you know, a long day on the course or whatever the case is. So pre-season is obviously much better because there's no like games involved and stuff like that. But in seasons is tough.
Mate, Max, you'll be the same. How bad's your back after walking around a golf course?
I don't play golf, pal. Do I look like I play golf? Are you joking?
You're like one of the islanders, you know.
I don't play golf, my guy.
That's also, who's the scariest person you've played either with or against over the years?
I think in his prime, most probably played with, I don't know, just because he maybe loved the pain, was Bakkies Botha. I don't know, not being biased because he's from South Africa or anything, but I think he just loved the pain. If he did something and someone split his ear open, he would just laugh at it, or he was just one of those guys. Because he used to be a bouncer or working doors and stuff in, you know, at nightclubs and stuff before he started. So he was like he came from a pretty rough place, and he was quite a rough cat before he started playing rugby. And then obviously you could see that, you know, the violence and stuff coming through.
Whereas you, if someone's split you open, you're panicking. Oh shit! You're a good-looking fella, mate.
No.
It's that one. It's the clip with Bakkies and Jimmy Cowan that gets me. That one every time. I'm like, oh my god, what's happened there?
Yeah, look, I think a few of the incidents has been obviously like frowned upon and stuff, but I think that's just the way he played the game, kind of thing. You know, he liked, you know, he was like an enforcer. He liked it. He liked the tough stuff. So,
France, what makes Barbary such a freak show? Then he's definitely flavour of the month, isn't he?
How good was he?
Well, flavour of the season.
He was good.
Is he just good at everything?
He's oh man, I think he's also been a bit unlucky with injuries. But when he's on the pitch, he's just guys just bouncing off him everywhere. You know, I just think he's got heart, and he's just a, you know, a naturally gifted player that I don't think he's kind of scared of anything. Got that mentality, and rightfully so. You know, he's a great player.